I have my coffee. We are relaxing. Today is the Lord's Shabbat. Today's lesson is going to be to submit to your husband is to submit to Jesus. Again, today's lesson is going to be to submit to your husband is to submit to Jesus, right? And nowadays, and really since I've been born, there's been this whole thing going around where women feel like they just have to be independent. They don't need a man, or if they are in a relationship, they give off they give off like they're the one leading the household and they're the ones in charge and whatnot. And that's technically not how it's supposed to be. We see it whenever we watch movies and TV shows, especially a lot of the old school TV shows, like what are some of those shows, like The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Viv. Sometimes you could get a little snazzy with Uncle Phil. We see it on Good Times. We see it on The Cosby Show, those older shows and whatnot. But we have to stop and think for a moment and remember that the reason why the woman was created to begin with, right? And to remind you guys, we're going to go to Genesis chapter 2, verse 18. Okay. So Genesis 2 and 18. This is whenever, after God has created the whole earth and he's created Adam, and Adam is alone. He's running things in the Garden of Eden and whatnot. And Genesis 2 and 18 states that, and the Lord God said, "It is not good that the man should be alone. I will make an helpmeet for him." Right? And so what is a helpmeet? So we're going to look in the Strong's Exhaustive Concordance at that word helpmeet. And it is H5048. Okay. H5048. Again, he made a helpmeet for Adam, right? And that helpmeet is H5048. It's neged, a front, from H5046, a front that is part opposite, specifically a counterpart or mate, usually adverbially, especially with preposition, over, against, or before, about, over, against, aloof, far, far off, from, over, presence, other side, sight, to view, right? So Eve was made as an helpmeet. Helpmeet means counterpart. So husbands and wives are meant to work together, but the man is supposed to be leading, because like I said, Adam was created first. He was the one in charge of managing the Garden of Eden. He needed a helper, right? Thus his wife, Eve, being taken out of him, being his rib, a part of him, a counterpart, right? So when we look at that word counterpart in the Webster's 1828 dictionary, it gives us a little bit more information as to what exactly a counterpart is. And again, yes, the Adam and Eve, they were working together, but Adam is the one that took the lead on everything. That was his position, right? So a counterpart in the Webster's Dictionary of American English 1828 edition, it is the correspondent part, the part that answers to another, as two papers of a contract or indentures, a copy, a duplicate. Also, the part which fits another. Eve was taken out of Adam's rib. They fit together as the key of a cipher. And then you have definition 2, which doesn't necessarily apply to this lesson. But again, a counterpart, a part that answers to another. Okay. So, like I said, the title of the class is To Submit to Your Husband is to Submit to the Lord. So now we're going to go to Ephesians 5. Ephesians chapter 5. Okay. Ephesians 5:22 to 24. And it says, Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord. Again, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord. So you're supposed to submit yourself as a wife to your husband the same way that you would submit yourself to the Lord. This Lord is Jesus Christ. We'll find that out in the next verse, verse 23. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ, Jesus Christ, like I said, is the head of the church, and he is the savior of the body. Therefore, as the church is subject unto Christ, let wives be to their own husbands in everything. Okay. Now, that doesn't go to say that every man is worth a wife submitting to. In this case, we are talking about righteous men. Now, if you have a husband who has submitted himself unto the Lord, unto God, is a righteous man, and he's being led by Christ, and the woman is led by that man who is led by Christ, not the woman is led by the man who is led by these streets. That's not how this is supposed to go. I'm sorry, it's just not. But it also goes into, because a righteous man is not going to lead his wife down the wide path, so to speak. He's going to lead her down the straight and narrow path. He is going to be one that actually has the authority in the house, that has things laid out a certain way, that moves in the same way that Christ moves. We all have our faults, but the point is the wife follows the husband who follows Christ. And we are supposed to submit to our husbands just as though we were to submit to Christ, okay, unto the Lord. So let's look at a couple more definitions, right? The word submit in the Strong's is G5293, right? G5293. And that is hupatasso. I don't know if I said that right. Anyways, hupatasso. It is from G5259 and G5021, to subordinate, reflexively to obey. Some people might not like that word, but that's what it means. To submit yourself unto your husband is to obey, to be under obedience, obedient, to put under, subdue unto, be subject, make subject to, unto, be put into subjection to or under, and submit self unto. So you are to obey your husband. Again, like I said just a moment ago, he's not giving you directions that's going to lead you down that wide path, right? We can also look at the word submit in the Webster's 1828 dictionary. Let's see, let's get that pulled up here so that we can also get that definition. Okay. And again, going back to that word obey, marriage isn't easy. I can attest to that. I've been married for 11 years now. And the first few years, coming out of that mindset from my family and other women that I've seen around, it wasn't normal for the wife to listen to the husband and everything. Like, for some reason, we felt the need to always be right, always be the leader, always, and it's possible that the women that I've seen growing up, that's just a front that they put on. Whereas behind closed doors, they were, probably actually submitting to their husbands. I don't know, because I was young. I didn't get into all that. But I mean, we see it in television. Like you got the snooty women. You ain't gonna tell me what to do. All that stuff. But if he's not leading you down the wrong path, then why can't you just listen? Mhm. Right. Okay. So submit in the 1828 Webster's Dictionary of American Language. We have specifically definition 2, right? But we're going to start with definition 1. To let down, to cause to sink or lower. You're lower. You're below. You're under that person, right? Definition 2, to yield, resign, or surrender to the power, will, or authority of another with the reciprocal pronoun, right? And it has the examples, wives, submit yourself to your own husbands, or return to thy mistress and submit yourself under her hand. But specifically, wives submitting to their husbands, okay? And also, next we have, what is it to be the head? So we read in verse 23, even as Christ is the head of the church. So for the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church, and he is the savior of the body. So what does it mean to be a head? Not a head, but a literal head, right? And the word is G2776, and it is kephale, probably from the primary word capto in the sense of seizing the head as the part most readily taken hold of, figuratively or literally, head. Right? And then the subject in verse 24. Therefore, as the church is subject unto Christ, so let the wives be to their own husband in everything. So it's not in some things, it's in everything. And to be subject is G5293. Hupoptasso. It's the same as the word submit. To be subordinate, to be under, obedient, to submit yourself to. Right? So the word subject and the word submit in Ephesians 5:22-24 mean the same thing. Okay. So next, let's go to Colossians chapter 3, verse 18. Okay. Colossians 3:18. And it states, wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as it is fit to the Lord. Now we've made it very clear that submit meant to be subordinate to, right? To be under, he's to be over you. It says, submit to your husbands, unto your own husbands, as it is fit to the Lord. As it is fit in the Lord. But what does this word fit mean? To be fit in the Lord? So not only do we have to submit to our own husbands in everything, not some things, but everything, as we read in Ephesians 5:24, we also have to submit to our husbands as it is fit in the Lord. And that fit in the Strong's Exhaustive Concordance is anakeo, G433, and that is from G303 and G2240, to attain to, that is to be figuratively, be proper, convenient, be fit. Meaning that it is right to the Lord. It is the proper thing to do, is to submit to your husband as you would unto the Lord in everything, as it is right. It is proper in the Lord, right? And technically we can stop right there. We can stop right there. And that tells you everything that you need to know about submitting to your husband. I mean, it's right there. You cannot say that it's not there, because you see it. I showed it to you. It's right there on the screen. It's there, right? We're not going to stop right there, though. We got a little bit more to go. So now we're going to skip down, and we're going to go to Colossians 3:23 and 24. It says, and whatsoever ye do, do it heartily, as to the Lord and not unto men. So, and whatsoever ye do, do it heartily, as to the Lord and not unto men. That means do with everything that you have. You need to do it as though you were doing it to God, to Jesus, and everything that you do. So in submitting to your husband, you do it with everything that you have, as though you were doing it for the Lord, not for men. Because if you do it for men, you're going to be talked down on. Other women are going to be like, oh, you ain't supposed to be like that. No, we're not supposed to do all that. No, as unto the Lord. Verse 24, knowing that the Lord shall receive, knowing that of the Lord ye shall receive the reward of inheritance, for ye serve the Lord Christ. So in submitting yourselves to your husband in everything, as it is fit unto the Lord, do it with everything in you, as if you're doing it to the Lord, because you serve the Lord Christ. You shall receive your reward and inheritance. That's what it says. So, what about the women, the wives, who choose not to submit to their husbands and would rather cause trouble? You know, trying to usurp her authority, right? What about them? The Bible has a lot to say about them, believe it or not. So we're going to go to Proverbs chapter 12, verse 4. Proverbs 12 and 4. And it says, a virtuous woman is a crown to her husband, but she that maketh ashamed is as rottenness in his bones. Again, the virtuous woman is a crown to her husband, but she that maketh ashamed is as rottenness in his bone. Let's read this in another version, right? We're going to read this in the New Living Translation. And it says, a worthy wife is a crown for her husband, but a disgraceful woman is like cancer in his bones. A disgraceful woman. A woman who maketh her husband ashamed of her is like cancer in his bones. Why would you want to be like that? You're obviously not a helpmeet to him. You're a cancer. You are a sickness. You are a hindrance to him. Okay. What about Proverbs 14 and 1? Right? It says, back to the KJV, every wise woman buildeth her house, but the fool plucketh it down with her own hands. But the foolish plucketh it down with her hands. Every wise woman buildeth her house, but the foolish plucketh it down with her hands. So that could be from trying to usurp your own authority, that could be from mismanaging finances. I've been there. I've grown. I don't have that problem anymore. That could be talking over your husband. That could be fighting with him. The way that you raise your children, the way that the people that you invite into your home, right? You're supposed to build up your home. You're not supposed to break it down, but the foolish plucketh it down with her own hands. And we can read this also, in the New Living Translation again. It says, a wise woman makes her home what it should be. She makes it whole. She makes sure that everything is taken care of inside that home. But the home of a foolish woman is destroyed by her own actions. Right? We can also read this in the CEV. It says, a woman's family is held together by her wisdom, but it can be destroyed by her foolishness. So if she's foolishly handling finances, foolishly taking part in things that do not benefit her household, but instead take away, these things, they can destroy your home. It can destroy your relationship with your husband. It can destroy finances again, because that's a big thing. Finances. Women, a lot of women, not all women, but a lot, are not the best at handling money. It is what it is. But the woman's family, the wife's family, is supposed to be held together by her wisdom. You're supposed to build up your home, build it and establish it, not tear it down. And you do that with your own hands, right? But here's another example of a wife or woman that causes problems for her husband. This is Proverbs 27 and 15. Proverbs 27 verses 15 and 16 to be exact. Let me read this in the KJV. 15 and 16. Got it there? Yes, perfect. A continual dropping in a very rainy day, and a contentious woman are alike. Hold on. A continual dropping in a very rainy day and a contentious woman are alike. Just think, if it's constantly raining, or even better, let's think about in our homes, if your pipes are constantly leaking, you can't do nothing. There's nothing that you can do to stop those pipes from leaking. And a contentious woman are alike. Verse 16. Whosoever hideth her, hideth the wind, and the ointment of his right hand, which bewrayeth himself. So basically what this is saying is, trying to hide her, trying to make her not be like so noticeable, like getting her out the way, is like trying to hide the wind. You can't hide the wind. You cannot hide a contentious woman. You cannot hold oil, like actually grasp oil. You cannot hold oil in your hands. It's going to seep through. It's there. We can look at this in the ERV, right? This is Proverbs 27, 16 and 7. 15 and 16, sorry, in the ERV. It says, a continual dripping on a rainy day and a quarrelsome wife are alike. To restrain her is to restrain the wind or grasp oil in one's right hand. You can't stop the wind. You cannot stop oil from seeping through your fingers when trying to hold on to it. If you pour some oil in your hand, it's going to fall through, right? Trying to get a quarrelsome, an argumentative, a troublesome wife in order is like trying to stop the wind or grab oil in your hand. We're not supposed to be like that. We're not supposed to be quarrelsome, contentious women. We're not. We're not. Because in doing so, that makes you like a cancer, a sickness in your husband's bones. But it's not my word. You see it. It's there, right? We can read this in the NLT, the New Living Translation. Proverbs 27 and 15. A quarrelsome woman is as annoying. A quarrelsome woman is as annoying as constant dripping on a rainy day. Stopping her complaints is like trying to stop the wind or trying to hold something with greasy hands, with greased hands. So not only is a troublesome woman like cancer in a man's bones, but she's also annoying. It's not cute. We shouldn't be like that. But again, to submit to your husband is to submit to the Lord. And, no contentious, annoying woman would submit to the Lord. I'm sorry. It's just to properly do it. It's just, you're not submitting to the Lord if you're not submitting to your husband, period. Ecclesiastes 7 and 26. Let's keep going. Ecclesiastes 7 and 26. Right. Man. This says, and I find more bitter than death the woman whose heart is snares and nets, and her hands as bands. Whoso pleaseth God shall escape her, but the sinner shall be taken by her. See, a righteous man is going to have a righteous woman who will submit unto him as she would unto the Lord, as it is proper, it's pleasing, it's right to the Lord, right? But a contentious, quarrelsome, annoying wife, this woman, is more bitter than death. So not only are you annoying, not only are you a cancer to your husband's bones if you're like this, you are also more bitter than death. Okay? More bitter than death. What's the problem? Okay. And it says that whoso pleaseth God shall escape from her. So the man who pleaseth God shall escape from this woman, right? But the sinner, the sinful man, the man that serves the Lord, that follows the Lord, that submits unto the Lord, shall escape her. But the one that submits to the world, the one that follows the ways of the world, they shall be taken by her. Let's read this in the CEV. Okay. The Contemporary English Version. Here's what I discovered. A bad woman is worse than death. She is a trap reaching out with body and soul to catch you. But if you obey God, you can escape. If you don't obey, you are done for. The ERV, the easy to read version. 26. I also found that some women are dangerous like traps. Their hearts are like nets, and their arms are like chains. It is worse than death to be caught by these women. God's followers should run away from them. Let the sinners be caught by them. So let the ones who submit unto Christ run away from them. These women who are contentious, grievous, annoying, a cancer to your bones. God's followers should run away from them and let the sinners, the men of the world, be caught by them. Right. One more translation, the Bible in basic English. The Bible in basic English 26. And I saw a thing more bitter than death. Even the woman whose heart is full of tricks and nets, and whose hands are as bands. He with whom God is pleased will get free from her, but the sinner will be taken by her. He with whom God is pleased will get free from this annoying, contentious, grievous, cancer to the bones like woman. But the sinner will be taken by her. You know, those toxic relationships? Yeah. I mean, that's what it says. So, those are some examples of, you know, the troublesome woman, the woman who has not submitted to her husband like she should submit to the Lord, as unto the Lord, right? Those are some examples of that troublesome woman. But what about some examples of how a wife who has submitted to her husband is to be a helpmeet? Right? Let's go to Proverbs 31. What does it mean to be a virtuous woman? So Proverbs 31, verses 10 through 12. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. So this submissive woman, this virtuous woman, right? This holy woman, righteous woman. To have a woman like that is more, it would cost, she costs more than rubies. She's a treasure. Rubies are a treasure. But this woman is a treasure more than rubies to her husband. Her husband is able to trust her to manage, you know, the household, so that he shall have no need for spoil. Meaning so that he doesn't have to worry about going poor. He doesn't have to worry about things going to waste. He doesn't have to worry about the things that he would have to worry about should he have gotten caught up with a troublesome wife. Right? We can read this in the ERV, but before we do that, she will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. Not she'll do him bad, she will do him good, meaning that she, again, like we read earlier, in everything, with everything in her, she will do him good and not evil. She's not going to cause him trouble. She's not. But we can look at this in the ERV. Okay. How hard, verse 10, how hard is it to find the perfect wife? She is worth far more than jewels. Like I said, she's a treasure. She's a treasure. Her husband depends on her. He will never be poor. Meaning that she's helping him to manage everything, to take care of everything, just like Eve helped Adam. And in helping him and not, ruining everything with her actions, with her hands, as we read earlier, he will never be poor. He doesn't have to worry about everything being just gone out the window. Money, finances, health, you know, it's a bunch of different things that you can end up being poor in. You can be poor in money, you can be poor in health, you can be poor in just overall well-being, but her husband's able to depend on her. Verse 12 says, she does good for her husband all her life, and she never causes him trouble. Again, I've been there, more so with finances than anything else. I didn't cause no problem anywhere else. It was just finances, but I had to learn how to handle said finances and how to get out of the mindset of just spending. I learned. I got a lot better at it, and now we don't have that problem no more, you know. So she does good for her husband all of her life. She never causes him trouble. Okay, so that's one example. Proverbs 31:27. It says, this whole thing talks about the virtuous woman, but it's just specific verses that I chose because you can go throughout this whole Bible and find different things of how a righteous woman, should submit to her husband as unto God. There is so many examples, but to do that, this class would take forever. This lesson would take forever. So this is Proverbs 31:27, right? Proverbs 31:27. She looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness. To be idle is to be stagnant, to be lazy, to be at a stop, right? So she's looking after her house well. She's like, everything that's going on in the house, she's making sure that it's running the way that it's supposed to be running. You know, so she's not tearing it down with her hands. She's making sure that it's going the way it's supposed to be going, like I just said. And eateth not the bread of idleness, meaning she's not lazy. She's not just sitting around letting the kids run rampant, not cooking meals for her family. She's doing what she needs to do to be the wife. Okay. Right? And I didn't have this in there, but we might as well read 28. It says, her children arise up and call her blessed, and her husband also, he praiseth her. This is not a woman that the husband wants to run away from. This is a woman that he praises. This is a woman that is known, right, for her righteousness, for the way that she follows her husband, the way that she keeps her household. She's known in a good manner, not an evil manner. She's not known for being contentious or being grievous or annoying or anything like that, right? She's called blessed, and she's given praises by her husband and her children, right? We can read this in the ERV. It says 27. She oversees the care of her house. She is never lazy. Her children say good things about her, and her husband brags about her and says, there are many good women, but you are the best. That's how it's supposed to be. And we just have one more verse here. And this is not showing up on the screen. I do apologize about that. Let's see if I can get it this way. Nope, I cannot. I'm sorry. Okay, well, Proverbs 31:30, the final verse for this lesson. And I do apologize that it's not showing up on the screen. I will fix that for my next lesson. But Proverbs 31:30 says, favor is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. So we're supposed to submit Same, means the same thing. Submit unto our husbands as unto the Lord, as it is fit in the Lord in everything that we do. And if we submit to our husbands, we submit to the Lord, right? And it says that a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. So if you fear the Lord, you fear your husband. To fear the Lord means to follow him, to love him, and to keep his commandments. That's what it means to fear the Lord, right? So if you keep his commandments, you follow him, and you love him, then you should keep the instructions of your husband, follow your husband, and love him. That woman shall be praised. Favor and beauty is deceitful and vain, meaning that it doesn't mean anything. It's empty. Vain means emptiness. Deceitful, it lies. You can be cute. Ain't nothing wrong with being cute, but you can still be an unrighteous woman and be cute. You can be cute and not fear the Lord. Right? And then in the ERV, the easy to read version, this same verse, and I do apologize again, you cannot see it, but you can pull it up yourself. It says, grace and beauty can fool you, but a woman who respects the Lord should be praised. Grace and beauty can fool you, but a woman who respects the Lord should be praised. And that is Shabbat and Coffee with Men Bible Ministry. Again, my name is Keanu. And just to reiterate, in today's lesson, we learned that to submit to your husband is to submit to the Lord. And a grievous, contentious, annoying wife is like cancer to her husband's bones. And that in submitting to your husband, you are to care for your household. You're not supposed to break it down. And to submit to your husband is to essentially fear him in the same way that you would fear the Lord, which means to fear the Lord is to keep his commandments, to follow him and to love him. To fear your husband, to submit, same thing, is to keep his rules. If he sets rules in the house, you follow them, right? And you love him. It's the same thing. You're supposed to respect your husband just as you would respect the Lord. And this is, again, it's not a worldly husband. This is a righteous husband. That's how it's supposed to be. And it's not supposed to be any other way. With that said, again, I'm Keanu with Men Bible Ministry. We are a branch of Absolute Bible Truth Ministries, head teacher being Brother Joshua. If you'd like to join our Shabbat lessons with Absolute Bible Truth, they are on the Sabbath at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can listen on Discord, Clubhouse, or Blog Talk Radio. The links to all those will be in the description below. And I hope you got something out of this lesson today. Peace and blessings, and Shabbat Shalom.